idea of these, it's quite light. I'll let you hold that. Is that quite light? Not really, is it?
But it does have the power of leverage and nails.
The idea is, you see, you hold it halfway down, you leave it nice and quick again, crack people against the knees, and you can get a nice quick blow against the head. Oh! And make a little mess of it. Is the general idea. Anything soft and squishy is going to get rapidly crushed by that, and that includes your face. But the big stick obviously gives rather a bit more impact. Nicely squashes your head, you see. So, nice quick weapon, very simple to make. All you need is a nice lump of wood with some nails in it, and you too can be the pirate queen of the seven seas, smashing skulls like watermelons. Good fun, eh? Lovely. Shall we move on to something slightly more
technologically advanced?
Technologically advanced than the stick with nails in it?
Yes.
Shall we stick with the blunt things?
Yeah, let's start with blunt things, alright.
Then we'll go for the...
Right, we'll hand this round, I think, because it's a bit of a weird one, this. Does anyone know what this is? It's very similar to a beanbag, funnily enough. But what do you think it might have in it? Lead shot. Yes, it does. It's got lead shot inside it. This is called a blackjack or a sap. And the general idea of it, alright, if you want to rob somebody but you don't want to kill them, which, you know, does happen from time to time, then all you have to do is you sort of cleverly walk up behind someone. Hey, what's that in that bush over there? And you cut them over the back of the head with one of these. Oh!
Glue. I'll have to glue it.
I feel mean now. I feel awfully mean now. But that's the blackjack for you. Alright, and it comes on a nice little bit of rope there, so you can get a good amount of force on it.
Excellent.
And I'm not sure that'll squash your head. What do you reckon? Do you reckon that'll squash your head or just nicely bruise it? Nicely bruise it, that's what I think. But let's find out, shall we? Oh, oh, yeah, alright. You might not want to hit somebody too hard with one there, really, might you?
No, you might want to hit them a little bit softer.
Despite what you see in films, you see, it's not really that easy to knock somebody out by hitting them over the head. What tends to happen is that happens to their head, and they get their skull fractured and they die.
And also, that's quite a concussion.
Yeah, I think that would certainly that would warrant a trip to the doctors. That would definitely warrant a trip to the doctors.
We don't want to go to a pirate doctor.
No, well, pirates didn't really have doctors, you see. Usually the doctor on a pirate ship was also the carpenter, because the carpenter has a nice steady hand with what? With a saw. So if you get a musket ball in the arm and that wounds your arm, we would just take it off, clean off, saw it right off. And then you can have a nice wooden arm or a hook. Wouldn't that be fun? No, not really. Right.
Speaking of hooks.
Oh yes, all right. We'll go for the old doctor's hook. It's quite difficult to get the hang of this. I had a bit of trouble sticking this in yesterday, but yeah, still a rather nasty wee weapon there. I don't think it's really all that sharp, this one. I think that's your problem with this one, you see.
Well, they're not meant to be.
Sharpened it up enough, you know. Want a nice razor edge on these things. Oh, 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 there we go. Very nice. Melon?
It's more like melon juice now.
There we go. Very nasty. So yeah, just as good for dragging people around. Very, very, you know, nasty wee weapon, because if you're in a fight and you manage to stick that through somebody's arm or something, you can then of course drag them around pretty much where you want.
So if any of you are planning to get your arms sewn off, we'll be taking orders for these.
Yeah, you can have one of those jammed into the stump.
Lovely.
That's brilliant.
Maybe not.
Right, what are you moving on to now?
Something a bit harder as a target.
All right, pineapple. Now I reckon that's more like. I reckon that might be more like your head. No? Nice hard head. He's certainly got a hard head. Feel that when I bashed him on it earlier. Yeah. That's solid head. Right, what are you going for?
Shall we start with the marlin spike?
Yeah. So this is the marlin spike. This is what you untie knots with. Of course, has the advantage. Very narrow point. Anyone here seen Train Spotting? The little people should have done. You have, haven't you? Yeah. Do you remember what Begbie says about nice sharp points and nicking needles and things like that? Very similar sort of idea. I'll let you stab with have a bit of a stab with this. A dirty piece of metal Remember, this is a really common tool on board ships. Almost all sailors will carry one of these hanging from their belt for doing knots and stuff with. So this is very much not a proper weapon, this is a weapon of opportunity. This is what, oh, right through there. Now, pick that up, let them have a look. Carry it round. Lovely. So through soft and squishy bits of you, that is going to hurt.
SpongeBob wasn't home at the time.
No. No. Temporarily moved out for renovations.
Just as well.
Well, you've got a new window.
What other sort of tools do you think you'd find on board a ship? Especially a wooden ship? Woodworking tools? What do you think of? What's people working wood with? An axe, you say? An axe?
An everyday all-purpose axe like this.
An everyday all-purpose axe like that. You do also have sort of military axes on board some ships called boarding axes, which have a nice big spike on the back as well. Very useful for sort of hooking ropes and things. I think somebody's got one down near Thirlings, one of those.
Yeah.
A nice big spike on the back. But a nice little short woodworking axe like this. Again, sort of thing you would have lots of sailors carrying on board ships. Good for chopping wood, good for chopping anything really. Alright, arms and legs off. See there, it's quite small, isn't it?
Managed to sell hundreds of these to natives in the Americas.
Absolutely, yes. Have you heard of tomahawks? Sort of settlers' axes basically that are repurposed for chucking at people by natives in the Americas. It's an axe. It chops things up, kind of like this. There you go.
Stick your mouth under there, get a drink.
So you can see what it does, because it's got quite a small head.
It's
Alright,
fine.
it's not a big axe
Down
for
here,
sort
I'm
of
about-
chopping down trees or for like shaving planks or anything off. This is like a little woodworking axe. It does have the advantage. What it does, it concentrates all that force in a very small area. Alright, now if you imagine getting trampled on by an elephant, it wouldn't hurt half as much as getting trampled on by an elephant wearing high-heeled shoes. And it's for just that same reason. Alright, the elephant's high-heeled shoes transmit all that force to a very small area and goes right through you like that. Alright, now it might not go right through your skull quite. Might stop and get stuck in your skull. But at that point, I don't think you'd care very much.
No.
No.
Right, what's next?
Shall we just cut this before we finish with the...
Oh, go on then.
Now this?
Was the pineapple?
This is the most classic of pirate weapons. I'm sure you've all seen one before. This is a cutlass. And it might be purpose made like this, or it might be cut down from a larger sword. And of course, as you notice, as compared to, say, this gentleman's broadsword, is much.
Well, this is a repurposed.
Yeah, repurposed one. See that in a second. Why might you have a short sword aboard ship? Anyone think? Yes, you'd have it for fighting, certainly, but why? Why would it be so short? Why not have a longer sword, which clearly has a very good advantage? Exactly! Well, below ship, it's very small. The corridors are usually not more than 5 feet high, so you'd be okay, but you might have a bit more trouble. Very narrow as well. You would have, in a space like this, you would have maybe 3 men, or a space like this, you'd have maybe 6 men in hammocks. So all the spaces are very small because wood is expensive, ships are expensive to build, and of course you have to maximise the use of your space. So this is perfect for just below decks and tiny little corridors, or of course, what is there on deck? Lots of, you probably don't want to cut. Ropes, rigging. And this would very easily get tangled in rigging if it was a lot longer. So, very efficient, effective shipside weapon. And this one, in particular, is actually a genuine pirate cutlass. This belonged to my great-grandfather, and he sailed on tea clippers through the quickest way to get into the Indian Ocean is through the Yemeni Gulf, which is famous for pirates. It was famous for pirates then, and if you've heard of Somalia, which I'm sure you have in Somalian pirates, still famous for pirates to this day, because now they're very friendly and use AK-47s and speedboats instead of little rowboats and cutlasses. So, as you can see, got a nice curve to it, really good for getting a good swing on, and
I think you should chuck that up in the air.
That might be better.
Yes! Very sharp, very vicious. We weren't wearing armour in sort of on pirate ships or
Delicious.
anything. It wasn't armoured combat, so these nice, light, thin, slicey weapons. Very handy.
Most of the time.
Now, that's called... well, it's a bit like a mace actually, that's pretty good. It's got a lovely name, it's called a monkey's fist. And a monkey's fist is a big knotted piece of rope, and if you do something naughty on board ship that your captain doesn't like, he will have you put up against the mast, and what will happen to you? Yeah, you would get beaten with it. Alright, right across the back. There was lots of, I don't think there's quite so many whippings going on in the sea cadets these days, is there? But back in the day, in the British Navy, the standard punishment for pretty much everything was being whipped with either a cat of nine tails or a monkey's fist. Some men got whipped to death. Not at all uncommon. The captain had absolute authority on board his ship. This, however, has been altered a little bit.
Tell John to come in. The guys just went in.
Don't know if you have a feeling how heavy that is. What do you think's wrapped up in that rope? Yeah, cannonball. A big cannonball wrapped up in all those knotted bits of rope, and the idea is you'd use that for smashing open ship's bulkheads, breaking down locked doors. Very useful for pirates, of course, if you want to get into places that you're not supposed to be. Makes for a very nasty weapon. Very similar to the classic sort of mace from medieval times, which is a big iron ball on the end of a chain. Alright, designed for squashing people's heads. Now, speaking of which, here is another one of our lovely head substitutes. Alright,
Yes.
now,
Oh God.
is that nice and steady?
Nice and solid.
Let's shift out of the way a little bit, there we go. Alright, the first 3 rows might get covered in watermelon.
But just imagine it as tasty, tasty brains.
Now of course, your head isn't quite as squishy as a watermelon. Alright, a human head has something inside it that makes it considerably harder, especially this young man. Alright, nice skull inside there, makes it nice and thick, rather more difficult to bash in. Maybe a little bit more like a coconut, you think? Well, a little bit, yeah. So here we go, nice solid coconut. Anyone who's ever had to break into a coconut knows that they can be pretty solid. They're quite hard to saw through even. But if you've ever wondered what the easy way to get into a coconut is, it's one of these. Oh! You missed! You missed!
It ran away! It was so terrified of the monkey's fist, it fled into the bushes. Yeah, wait a sec. Not a hedgehog. No, it's not a hedgehog.
got no face,
Actually, you're the
so it can't be a
hedgehog
hedgehog.
expert. Is that a hedgehog? Definitely a coconut.
Definitely a
Right,
coconut?
okay.
Right. Don't feel so bad about this, then.
Oh, I felt that. Not quite, but nearly.
So there you go, that gives you a pretty nice idea of the sort of damage you could do with something like that hitting the top of your head. Are you sure?